Hello there, guys. Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV for the fans phone-in show of Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. Shout out to Paul for subscribing as well, or has become a member. I'm not sure if this will say member when it says member. I don't know if this understands what you just did. But regardless, hello, welcome. Yeah, it's a bit of a sad day today. It's a bit of a disappointing day. Obviously, myself and Harry will start it off, and obviously then hopefully more and more of you will join, so we can obviously have a chat together. What we really want to talk about, what we really want to, discuss after today's howler of a game, because it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun. I think personally, Thomas Tuchel got it wrong. I think a lot of the players drastically underperformed, but we also shouldn't just look at ourselves. We also have to say Man City also played really well, to press us as well as they did, to press us as consistently as they did, and to, not allow us anything. Of course, we are joined by Harry. Of course, usually you might know him from the watch-alongs. Harry, first of all, thank you for being here as well. How do you feel about the game, mate?
I mean, it is what it is. First things first, we can't discredit Man City. We played as well as we could, which on the day really wasn't that great. If we're being completely honest, it was probably one of the worst performances I think Chelsea have played under Thomas Tuchel, besides the West Ham game, the West Brom game. So many players were just non-existent, or whenever they were existent, they were just like the likes of Kovacic or Alonso just were giving the ball away so needlessly and just causing issues. If it wasn't for Mendy, if we're being frank, if it wasn't for Mendy, it could have been far worse than just 1-0.
So I just said unmute myself. Yeah, no, it is. I don't really know. It was weird. When I did the preview, obviously yesterday, and we were talking about it, and I was thinking, the three midfield would make sense ahead of the game. Obviously it worked so well in the second half against Tottenham. I thought it would make sense. But when we actually saw it executed today, City just knew what to do about it. And City just knew what to do against it. And defensively, we were actually good. I mean, how many super dangerous chances did they have until we opened up a bit more in the second half, obviously? Not much. But the midfield, and then Timo was trying his hardest, but Lukaku, in my opinion, had a poor game. Alonso, absolute howler, and we just couldn't.
I've said this. Pressure, anyone that watches the streams, I've even on my Twitch stream or on the stream since I've been doing it on Chelsea Fan TV, I back Alonso. I back Alonso so much more than the average Chelsea fan or even the top Chelsea fan. Do you know what I mean? It's just I've always said he's got one of the best first touches of any player I think I've ever seen in my life. And I know a lot of people will be like, what are you talking about? But if you really look at his first touch, incredible. He can kill the ball with ease. His free kicks, his crosses, his passing is immense. But his defensive, when he even on a game today in the formation we played, if he's even asked to track back even just the slightest bit, the game's done even before it starts when you have Alonso starting for you. I love Alonso, don't get me wrong, but I can't keep defending whenever he gets asked to play in a defensive role like he did today, more of a defensive role than he does usually. He just causes more issues than provides opportunities for the front players.
Yeah, it's just for me, my biggest issue with him has always been, number one, I think he always, even though his crossing isn't actually that bad, I don't think he knows how to spell the word first time cross. He receives the ball, he always controls it before he crosses.
Yeah.
But my big problem with him is when he's under pressure in possession, he just doesn't have the feet. It's just, he looks like he's too stiff to get out of situations like that. And obviously with City's press today and him being so deep, plus not because we played the front two rather than the three, he didn't have his usual outlet pass of just down the line to whoever is the inside forward in front of him. Because he didn't have his main outlet, he was just so stuck whenever he was under pressure. It was just not working. But I don't want to sit here and say it was just Alonso's fault. Not by any means.
No.
The whole midfield was poor.
By no means. It was by no means. It wasn't just Alonso. There were far. Even Kante, I feel didn't really have a good game. I know he got brought off pretty early. I was a bit confused by that substitution by Tuchel. You think how influential of a player, especially you think, right? he's gone into this game playing defensive. Like he's gone obviously in a defensive sort of like formation to then bring off Kante, who is arguably the best player at tracking back and making those decisive tackles in a defensive position when the opposing team is on like a counter-attacking a bit of play. Why? I really didn't think Kante was having too bad of a game. If anyone should have come off early on, besides Alonso, Kovacic was having an absolute howler in my opinion. He gave the ball away so many times in the first half, and put us in jeopardy so many times. I was saying at halftime, maybe Tuchel was playing the sort of like double bluff in terms of making Man City think that we were weaker than we were, or that we were more vulnerable than we were. And maybe in the second half we would switch it up and go back to our normal formation and be more attacking. But it just didn't seem to be, that way in the end. And it just didn't work. No matter what it was that Tuchel was trying to pull off, it just didn't work at all.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also, I just think we were drastically missing Mason Mount today. Like, with whether we played the 2 or whether we played the 3 up front, it almost didn't matter. But we didn't have him as that kind of, as much as people obviously sometimes criticize him and say, oh, the finishing isn't there. And yeah, sure, he should have scored against Villa after that Loftus-Cheek back heel. Yes, he should have done. And yes, sometimes the final decision isn't great. But what he does is demand a certain amount of aggressiveness, or aggressivity, whatever the word is, a certain amount of intensity, and he demands the ball. And I feel like today the main problem was we won the ball back with our defense, because like I said, we were defensively pretty good. Gave it to the midfield, and then none of the midfielder, whether it was Jorginho, Kovacic, or Kante, had anyone to actually pass to, because Werner and Lukaku were so high up the pitch, had the men right on them, that the only options were punting them, and then our long punts weren't very good. And then we never managed to hold any possession, which obviously then, if you're under pressure for that long consistently, you're always going to crumble to some extent. So it's just...
It was almost like we were playing like a hoof and hope, sort of like, I don't know. I almost feel like Tuchel, I was saying to my dad after the game, I was saying like, it was almost like Tuchel had fallen to Pep a couple of times, I think, when he was in Germany, and now it seems as though he's got Pep's number, and in this game it was like it was almost like he didn't trust his players. Do you know what I mean? It was like he didn't, and that like straight away when you're coming into this, he has no backbone in from the team's perspective or anything like that. The team almost seemed like the team didn't trust his formation that he'd gone in with. None of the players had any sort of confidence coming in this. Like I say, I've never ever seen under Tuchel, maybe in the West Brom game, I can't remember that too well, apart from the fact that we got absolutely pumped. But like it was the fact that like I've never seen Chelsea under Tuchel give the ball away so much ever. Like it's just ridiculous. Like the pass, I was saying on the stream, it's that when they were playing the ball, it was either in front of them, but too far in front of them, or far too behind them. And it was always like suicide balls, always putting them in jeopardy. You got James going off injured in the first like half of the first half. I can't quite remember if that was down to like a bad ball from someone that ended up him getting like fouled from someone.
No, I think he was trying to win the ball off Grealish. He was trying to win the ball off Grealish, and then Grealish kind of fell on his ankle.
But was that as a result of a bad pass from a Chelsea player?
I don't remember.
I can't quite remember, but I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, like the balls that some of the boys were playing today really put some of the other players in jeopardy of like getting injured if they were to go full force into those trying to win the ball. It really wouldn't have ended well for a lot of them, and hence a lot of them backed out of those passes, and we just gave the ball away so much today. And again, hats off to Man City. They just were the far better team today.
No, exactly. As you guys know, of course, this is the phone-in show, the fans phone-in show. We are joined by our first guest of today. I will include him into the call in just a second. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you guys want to get involved and want to share your thoughts on today's game, join the Patreon. The link is down in the description. And then all the instructions are there how to get involved. You will find the link there, and then you can be part of this discussion, and we can discuss what we think about the game. But Tyrese, I know you mute yourself. You can unmute yourself in a second if you want to. First of all, thank you for joining us. Secondly, how you feeling, man? How was that? Wasn't good today, was it?
Yeah. No, it was not. It was poor. It was a poor performance from Chelsea. But the more I think of it is like it's the manner of the way we lost. It's not necessarily us losing, because you can lose a game all the time, but it's the manner of the way we lost. I don't know why Tuchel decided to go so pragmatic. I mean, that was a very strange decision he made, because I mean, Man City is a brilliant team. We all know that, but you don't have to show them that much respect. I mean, we're champions of Europe. We don't necessarily have to show much sides in world football so much respect. They're not prime Barcelona that Pep coincidentally managed, but no, it was just Man City, and we already beat them like 3 times in a row. So I don't get like why we had to go so pragmatic. It was a strange approach from me, and that's why I'm disappointed. And the performances from the players, I understand. Yeah, the formation was a bit negative, but the players still have to do much more, in my opinion. That was a poor performance from Chelsea. But I think we'll bounce back. Easy run of games. I can't be too negative at all. It's just you don't like losing.
I mean, it was. It's a factor of we got Juventus next, which isn't like the most. It's not the ideal situation to be in when we just come off of a loss like that. But it could have been a lot worse, like I said earlier. But like you said, we've got very, very favourable fixtures coming up. Again, it's like we got Southampton, Brentford, and Malmo coming up. It could be a lot worse. Do you know what I mean? As long as we get a result against Juventus, I'm praying that it won't spiral into. We've seen it so many times with Chelsea in the past, where one really poor performance can spiral into like a real issue for Chelsea.
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, because like you always got that feeling that one defeat and it will maybe go on, and then we'll start playing poorly. But for me, I just think it was down to Tuchel a little bit. Well, Tuchel a lot today, because in my opinion, he showed them too much respect. And like, this is what I've been saying about Chelsea for so much years. Like, we are a brilliant football team. Like, we are, and we play good football. And I hate to hear people say that we play defensive and that. I mean, like, sometimes Chelsea play defensive. Like, you have to. Today, today we did play defensive. Exactly. Like in Real,
too defensive.
Really defensive. When we played Real Madrid last season, I think it was the 1-1 the first. Like, I think we were pragmatic in that game as well, but we had to be. Like, you don't have to be pragmatic when we drew 0-0 with Porto, and that was a defensive performance from Chelsea, and we had to do that because you want to get through to the next round. But in my opinion, Chelsea didn't have to go defensive today, especially because we have City's number already, and I just got to give credit to City. But what I was saying about Chelsea, I think we need to be more ruthless. Like, Chelsea's a team that when I was growing up, I was seeing us beating Aston Villa 8-0 at Stamford Bridge. I was seeing that, watching it all the time. But no. Like, Chelsea's like a 3-0 or like a 4-0 sort of team. Like, I want to see 6-5 sometimes. No, obviously you can't do that every game. But sometimes I want us to be a bit more aggressive. So you can't show
the days of if you remember back to the days of Drogba and Anelka being at the club, and we'd beat Hull 7-0 or Wigan 8-0 and all that sort of stuff. I think those days have long gone. But I know what you mean in terms of. We should, and we have the quality to become. But I think the game has developed into more of the teams are far better defensively to be able to cope with against a team like us. It's about how good we are attacking wise. But there's no doubt that we have the attacking capabilities to beat a team. Maybe like Southampton or Brentford in the future, like an 8-0 or 6-0. But like after the performance today, like what you were saying again with like Tuchel was trying too hard defensively. It was almost as though it was like the past 3 wins that he had under his belt, he just didn't remember, and he was like, "Oh shit, this is my first game against Pep." And he's coming off of those defeats that he had in Germany and all that sort of stuff. And he was like worried that he was going to lose. Yeah. If he had played like this in the Champions League final, that would have made far more sense in a game like that than it would have done today. Today, in a game, it makes no sense. It's so early in the season. Why would you play so defensively? We lost anyway. Why wouldn't you just go from it from the start? Do you know what I mean? Play our normal formation.
Part of it is how well the whole thing worked against Spurs second half, and how that was like the opposite of defensive. As much as it might look defensive, we were the opposite of defensive against Spurs in the second half. Like we absolutely battered them with essentially the same players on the pitch. I think what Tuchel said post game is that Jorginho had a few problems. I think that where he was talking about like fitness problems there. I think part of it was like he felt he needed Jorginho, but he felt Jorginho, because he's maybe not 100% fit, might not be able to do it in the midfield too. And then obviously Timo scored the other day. Kai hasn't been great recently. Ziyech hasn't been great recently. So, and Mason's injured. Pulisic's injured. So you kind of only have Timo. And Timo was one of the better players anyway. Like the best of forward players.
I think he was the best of the 3. I think Lukaku was really poor. Now, I've been telling Lewis this for a while. Even when we were linked with Lukaku this summer, like I'm personally not a massive fan of Lukaku, but I'm not gonna criticize him and be like, "Oh, Lukaku out" and this and that. Like even just because of one bad performance. I personally wanted Erling Haaland because I believe he gives us much more off the ball than.
Hey, everyone in the world wants Haaland. Like it's not even like I know what you mean. Like everyone wants it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But like with Lukaku, he's going to give us goals. So that's all I care about. But off the ball, especially with a team like Chelsea, we play, we're gonna need someone to press on. Like Lukaku sometimes a little bit lazy if we're being honest. But I'm not going to be hard on him or anything.
It's his first game he hasn't scored. Is it his first game? It's the first game he hasn't properly performed.
I'm not going to be hard on him. It was one bad. One bad performance. He was decent against Spurs. He didn't get the score, but he was decent. But today he was poor and basically non-existent. But I'm not going to be hard on him or anything.
I think it also didn't help the fact that him and Timo, this is the first time they started a game together. Like obviously they played the last 20 against Spurs together. But essentially this was their first game together, which especially if you're as isolated as they ended up being, makes it even more difficult if you don't really know each other. There was one moment of like counter-attacking in the second half. And obviously Timo made the run to wide and Lukaku expected to run central, and then the pass didn't find him, and it was all just annoying, if that makes sense. It was all just frustrating and annoying. So
but frustrating, man. Like
let's try to focus on a few positives, I would say, and the few positives that we have today are Mendy, once again, absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word, absolutely brilliant. Let's talk about Mendy. What do you think about Mendy at the moment, Tyrese?
I think maybe there's only one thing about Mendy's game that I don't like. It's probably like when he has the ball, my heart's in my hand a little bit. Like I'm a bit nervous when he has the ball because to me sometimes when he kicks it out, he may kick it out a bit too wild, and then the opposition will get the receive. He will give away the ball a little bit when he kicks out. Like he will just kick it right back out to a Man City player or kick it right back out to someone player. That's the only issue I have with Mendy. And for me, that ain't necessarily a major issue if I'm being honest. The best thing about Mendy is everything else. Shot stopping. He's brilliant at that. I just don't know, man. His distribution is good, but it's not perfect, but it's good. I think probably right now he's the best keeper on the farm for sure, and I think he's underrated. He's a very solid keeper, and I'm happy that we have him because he's saving our ass, man. That's the honest truth. But for me, quality keeper.
He really is a quality keeper. Harry, anything you want to add to that? Because he was brilliant today.
I'll agree. Yeah. I'll agree. Like with distribution wise, he can be a bit dicey. Like in terms of in this game in particular. However, there was a couple times early on in the game he did the sort of like the throw. He did the throw, and there was the one early on. Alonso didn't clock that he was passing to him. He just was making the run. I think he thought it was going to be a more of a lobbed pass rather than like a drilled throw.
Yeah.
And Alonso didn't clock it at all, and that nearly ended up in disaster, being a goal. And I completely agree with you, Tyrese, in terms of he's brilliant everywhere else. I think this was a game that really showcased that his distribution, it really isn't as good. I think it's probably the weak point of his entire game. But, you know, apart from that, arguably, and I don't know if it makes any sense, but like in terms of like the FIFA ratings that just came out with, like, I'm pissed, mate. I'm pissed.
Don't play that game. Just save yourself the
I'm not buying. I don't think I'm buying it this year. But
I'm buying it this year.
What is he? He won the Champions League. He's rated the best goalkeeper in the world by UEFA's rankings last season. Last season, not overall, but like last season. 83 overall. He's level with Nick Pope of Burnley.
Same for Rudiger as well. How is Rudiger 83 after last season?
Mate, we could.
I don't know.
A long conversation. The FIFA ratings. I've said for years I'm boycotting FIFA. FIFA have an agenda against Chelsea. It's honestly like the ratings they have. Like
Jorginho won UEFA Player of the Year.
Chesney is an 87 this season. Why?
And I think Chesney's okay. I didn't even read it was Arsenal.
There's nothing wrong with him, but he's not.
I think he's okay, and I don't think he's bad. Or I don't think he's like world. He's a good keeper, but he's not like obviously to the levels of some keepers. But what I wanted to discuss was like, since we have an easier run of games coming forward now, you think this is the time now that this is crunch time for our attackers, because like we gotta be serious. Like Havertz, Ziyech, Mount. I know he's injured, but when he's back, they ain't really been the ones that's firing Werner as well. He hasn't really been getting a lot of opportunities, so I wouldn't get on him at all. And I think he was good. Was our best attacker today, Timo Werner. He was always trying to make things happen.
100%.
He was always trying to make things happen. So for me, since we have an easier run of games that may be easier to score against each opposition, you think this is the time now that it's crunch time for our forwards? They've got to start firing, in my opinion. It's time.
Yeah. It's a case of we brought Lukaku in to score goals, but although he is like the goal scoring machine that we know he can be, and he's proven that already since he's come in games like today where he doesn't show up or he can't get the ball. Again, I want to clarify, like we were playing so defensively. It was like our defense was here. Midfield was here, and then the strikers were here. Any ball that goes up, it's two people up front. There's no chance that they're going to get the ball. Do you know what I mean?
It was never going to win any second balls. It was nothing. No, like it was just
no.
It was just all
if Werner's there, Lukaku's further over. He's never going to pick it up because Ruben Diaz, as much as I slag him off because I say like I think he's incredibly overrated. He's very good, very good. I don't think he's anywhere near as good.
Yeah, I agree.
But, like, he bossed that defense for Man City today, and he proved me wrong, and I'll hold my hands up to that. He proved me wrong today. He absolutely bossed Lukaku and Werner off the pitch. Laporte, he's still got an injury, and he still managed to fend them off. But Werner, I said before the stream I did today, he would be the star player today. Mendy was the star player, but up front, Werner outshadowed Lukaku, but still, even with the formation we played, he still couldn't. With the support, there was no support at all, so there was no option for us to score a goal.
Tyrese, any last comments before we get on to the next guests?
Yeah, difficult loss. I don't think people should really take into much consideration because we're in good form. It's one loss. You're all entitled to losing the game, but yeah, it's a manner of way we lost. For me, since these fixtures are coming up and they're easier games after Juventus, which ain't the same Juve of old, but they're still a decent side, a good side. For me, no. This is the time that I'm going to be starting to get really harsh with our attackers if they don't perform. Apart from like Werner, Havertz, Ziyech, Mount. Apart not Mount. Well, Werner, Havertz, Ziyech. Crunch time. It's time. It's time that they got to start producing and giving us more. In these easier fixtures, you got to be able to get something out of them. You can't just expect to be relying on one guy in our attack, and that's Lukaku. Like I don't mind us playing through Lukaku, which is fair enough. But these other attackers got to chip in.
Rely on him. You can't. We
can't rely on him. There's some games that Lukaku is effective. He's not prime Lionel Messi that's unstoppable. Like on a good day, if you defend well against Lukaku with a low block, you could stop him.
But I still don't think Lukaku was the reason why it didn't work today. Not because we couldn't rely. The reason why it didn't work was the midfield and the structure.
It was more Tuchel's approach to the game. I don't blame Lukaku. He was poor today, but I don't blame him. What I'm saying is the attackers around him has to give him proper service, in my opinion, and they also need to start doing more, getting goals, getting more involved in our attacks, because right now I think we scored 11 goals and we have 10 different goals, which is good. But I want to see more from Havertz and Ziyech and those guys. I love them. I love all of them. I love traits of all of them. And I do think they'll come good this season. So I think it's crunch time now of these easier fixtures.
For sure. Tyrese, appreciate you a lot for coming on. Everyone check out Tyrese. You can see his hat on screen. But yeah, we'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, big up yourself, bro.
Cheers. Ryan, good to see you, my friend. Tough day, disappointing day. What did you make of the performance today and the game overall, I suppose?
Yeah, for me, it was just very, very frustrating. I think we contained City well in the first half and stuff like that, and obviously we were waiting for our chances on the counter attack. But my problem wasn't more defensively. I didn't have a problem with the goal in it. It happened. There was an unlucky deflection. Mendy couldn't do too much about it. But it was more the response for me, and it's like when Man City attacked, there was so many runs, so many movements and stuff like that, and it could have been more. But when Chelsea attacked, I don't know, man, Werner was sometimes on his own. Lukaku was just isolated, he didn't get much chances. There was nobody dribbling and trying to create. And then whenever we did get into the final third, it was just so slow, and it annoys me with Chelsea. Is that when we get into the final third, it's just like everybody waits, and then instead of putting the cross in when everybody's running with momentum, we wait and then we wait and then we wait, and then it hinders us. You know what I mean? So it was just frustrating, innit? I don't feel like there was enough belief. There wasn't enough fight. It was very spineless performance for me.
Yeah, it was weird, isn't it? I don't know. I wanted to say this earlier already, and I said it on my stream on my channel earlier. By the way, check the link out to that. Link is down in the description. To me, it felt like the last 3 times we played City, and obviously we beat them 3 times in a row in the FA Cup, in the league, and then obviously in the big one, the Champions League final. I think in all 3 of those, we were in a way still the underdogs, and I think that suited our players. But today, with how we've started the season, with City struggling a bit more than we have, and obviously all the media bigging us up, and it felt like it got to them a little bit. And because we were the favourites, they were kind of scared to lose something. And Tuchel said this post game as well. We were playing like we had something to lose, but we didn't have anything to lose. But that's how we were playing. We didn't, even though obviously the system obviously limits us with certain things to some extent, right? But even then, Kovacic never tried to dribble his way out like he usually often does. He had one kind of risky or more daring pass to Timo, which was one of the best passes we saw today. I mean, he didn't quite come off, but it was one of the only times we attempted it. And it just didn't seem like we were there. And I was saying it earlier already, I just think we missed Mount drastically. We just didn't get into any second balls anywhere near them. Sure, we won some of the second balls around our box, but that only helped us so much because their press, let's be honest, again, their press was so good that even when we won the second balls around our box, whenever we tried to break, either they stopped us early or the forwards were so isolated that we never managed to get the balls to them in any useful positions.
They were on us like flies. Literally, they were on us every single. I was saying earlier about misplaced passes or just errors in general, or even just a good pass, even a good pass, people like De Bruyne or Foden, they were just on us like a rash. They were just on us straight away. Like it wasn't that sort of intensity from Chelsea players reciprocated in the other way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was just like it was just whenever we were getting pressed, it was just too safe. Like normally Kovacic would try to dribble out and okay, maybe he might lose the ball 1 or 2 times, but we were losing the ball anyway, so why would it matter? But if the risk did pay off, then we would have been through for more counter-attacks and stuff like that. And then it was just all too safe. Whenever we were in a bit of trouble, we just boot the ball out long to Lukaku. And listen, Lukaku didn't have the best of games. I thought Diaz had a great game in marking Lukaku. You know what I mean? So yeah, and with Mount, I think he's a risk taker. Like, and doing that, okay, he might lose the ball a couple of times. It might not always pay off, but I think the risks he takes could have definitely helped us in this match because there was no risk takers.
Where do you think he would have? Where do you think Mount would have fit into the system today with the formation that we had? I literally can't. I can't really pinpoint where Mount would have come. And even if he was somewhere in the team, where would he have made a difference? Because every single player seemed to get out muscled on every single part of the field.
It wasn't really that. It was just like towards the end of the game when I think City dropped off a little bit and they weren't pressing as much in it. I feel like in that part of the game, listen, I feel like it was way too slow. I think bringing Loftus-Cheek on helped. I think we should have brought him on earlier.
He was great. He played fantastic. When he came on, he did everything he needed to do and more. Like he couldn't have done more, really.
Yeah. But listen, it's not necessarily Mount would have solved this, Mount would have solved that. I'm just saying that I feel like when Mount plays, I feel like he takes risks in it in terms of creating chances. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying, you know what I mean, Mount would have made the difference. He's this, he's that. I'm just saying that he's a risk taker in it. He takes risks, and I feel like if we had someone that actually tried to take risks, like when Loftus-Cheek came on and he was beating players for fun and he was out muscling them, if we had that from, I don't know, like from a lot earlier, it could have helped. If we had that starting, obviously, I don't think he beforehand. I don't think he should have started. But if we brought him on earlier than Havertz, or we brought him on earlier in the first half, it definitely could have helped. Because what he done was he came on, he started taking players on, he was thinking forward, and he was taking risks. And ultimately, I think that's what we needed.
I mean, I agree with you, mate. I definitely agree. It's a Ruben, it was someone I wanted to touch on anyway. People know I'm a big fan of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, of course.
Yeah.
Even I, as big as a fan as I am of him, even I didn't expect what he pulled off against Villa and what he did today. I mean, I did not see that. Like, you know, I saw a lot in him. And just think back to Conte days. Conte kind of saw him as this false 9 second striker type thing in the 4-3-3. Or 3-4-3, sorry. Then obviously Sarri found arguably his best position, but maybe Tuchel will prove us wrong on this. Played him as obviously one of the 8s, and that was brilliant. In my opinion, he was still in that 18-19 season. Behind Hazard, he was still our second best player over that entire season. Like, he was absolutely incredible until that injury. Obviously, injury hampered him drastically. The Fulham loan went well because for once he didn't get injured all the time, but in terms of performances, it went so-so, shall we say. But now to come back and play as a 6 and Tuchel just sit there saying he can play as a double 6, a single 6, as an 8. I'm like, I saw a lot of things coming, but not Ruben Loftus-Cheek being our best 6 on the day. Like, that was mental. He comes on and he drives better than he drove the ball way better than Kovacic did all day. He held it way better than Jorginho did. And he even won more tackles than bloody Kante did. Like, where's this come from? I don't understand. Yeah. But hey, if there's one light at the end of the tunnel, that it's him today.
Yeah, I think what it is everyone sort of wrote Loftus-Cheek off because of the injury he had, the severity of it. And if any of you are, you've watched the documentary that came out about Loftus-Cheek on the Chelsea app, you see like the struggle we went through, and a lot of people doubted that he could ever come back to the heights that he was projected to have. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was projected to be like what Mason Mount is now, or like, do you know, like those sort of like development players that have already hit those heights, so to speak. But like, Loftus-Cheek, he had that massive injury, and people were doubting whether or not he could get back to potentially the form or the quality that he could provide before the injury. And I think the Villa game and today has shown that he definitely has, even the slightest little bit of inch of like quality, that he definitely has what he had in the tank before. And I think given the time, he could definitely get to those heights again.
Exactly. We are joined by Miko as well. Appreciate you for coming on.
Hey, how y'all doing today? I'm actually from California.
Man. What do you think about the game? Let us know.
Honestly, my thing about Tuchel is I feel like he's just overall too defensive, and I feel like he wants to like sit back the whole game, and you can't afford to do that shit against teams like City and United who have unlimited attacking. Like, you could do that against Aston Villa because their best attackers like Bailey, Alan Watkins, like dudes who are good, but against teams like Manchester City that are just stacked offensively, you can't just afford to just sit back and just wait for them to crack us down. And now we only have 20 minutes to equalize against one of the best teams in the league. You get what I'm saying?
I do, but I only agree today. I don't think this is in general a problem we have at all, considering every stat we've been on since Tuchel joined. We've had the most chances created, the second most chances created, the second highest XG, and like God knows, all the attacking stats, we were even ahead of City in like from when Tuchel joined until the end of the season. So I don't think you can say we're defensive. It's not as simple as you play three defenders, you're defensive. That's not how it works. But today I agree.
I'm not saying Tuchel out or anything. I still believe in him as a manager. My thing is, I just feel like you can't afford to sit back and if we're going to go 5 at the back, you still have to do more to maintain possession and go forward. Like, we only had 33% possession against a team, like, arguably, in my opinion, one of the best attacking teams in the world, let alone EPL. You get what I'm saying? And you can't, like I said, against teams like United, City, Liverpool, like, you can't afford to do that all the time. You have to take it to them because eventually we'll get cracked like we did today. All it took is one goal, and that was pretty much it for the match. We were chasing for the next, like, 25 minutes.
We went in with the wrong game plan, for sure. You think
exactly.
We've gone in like, imagine on FIFA, you've gone, like, you press the fucking button as far as it can go ultra defensive. Like, you can't go more, you could not have gone more ultra defensive if you tried today, if you were Chelsea.
Exactly, and we're at Stamford Bridge too.
And if you were Man City, you couldn't have gone more ultra attacking if you tried. And it was only until the goal that there was a real change in the play that Chelsea pressed that button a little bit more, and we went to neutral. We were neutral. We weren't even like attacking. We were neutral, and it pushed the players up just a little bit. And I don't know, but Man City was still quite attacking. They weren't ultra attacking after that goal, but I know what you mean. But like,
yeah, because we.
I will say this: like,
this isn't the game to judge Tuchel at all. Like, there's no debate at all.
Yeah, I'm not saying Tuchel out. I still believe in Tuchel, but I'm saying is, like, you saw against Aston Villa too and Tottenham. Like, during the first half, we pretty much just sat back and let them do what they want to do and just defended, and then came out in the second half and tried to win. And it'll work against teams like that, but against City, you can't just sit back and just hope we just defend cleanly.
Yeah, see, I don't think we try to do that. Like, maybe the team might tell you we tried to do that, but I don't think that was the idea at all by any means. Like, look at the second half against Tottenham. We played pretty much the same team we played today. We were all over them. We had 10 corners, 11 shots. Like, we was annihilating them, right? With the same team. It's not as simple as you play 3 centre-backs, well, 2, I suppose, and then once Thiago came on 3, and then 2 wing-backs. It's not, first of all, it's not 5 at the back, it's 3 at the back. But then the problem was that Kante and Kovacic didn't manage to go forward at all. Like, the idea is kind of to have Jorginho out by himself, where the other 2 push and help with the front 2 and press and do this and do that. But because we never won a second ball and we never got any control of the play at all, which was down to City's press and our players having poor performances, too many of them, we never managed to get higher up the pitch. Because you say that, we did change the second half. We brought Havertz on for Kante. We did go more attacking. Did it make us any better? Not really. All it did was make us more susceptible to counter-attacks, and they could have scored 3. So I don't think you can make it as simple as, if we didn't play the midfield 3 today, we would have won. No, if we didn't play a midfield 3 and actually turned up, because today we really didn't turn up. Very few of the players did.
Like
Say again?
Lukaku,
Sorry?
half the time you look stranded up there at the front line. Like he wasn't getting enough service to even try. When he did get enough service, he just got surrounded. Along with some bad touches too. Lukaku didn't have his best game, but still.
No, I agree with that. But obviously, when you play a good team and they get the ball into your own defensive third, when you try to play it out, you have two ways: either you pass your way out, or you punt it long and try for the attackers to hold it up until the rest of the team can move up. But what was the problem? We couldn't pass our way out because their press and our passing wasn't good enough to deal with their press. And when we played the ball long, Lukaku and Werner couldn't hold onto it for long enough until the rest of the team pushed up. So that's why we never managed to put any sort of pressure on them. And that's why what we said earlier, I'm not sure if you heard this, Miko, where we were saying that's where we're missing Mason Mount today. But Ryan, just to bring it back to you, do you agree with a few of the things that Miko said, or what are your reactions to it, I suppose?
My problem wasn't really that we were sitting back. It's like, all right, fine, sit back, but it's like when you get the ball, you have to do something with it, innit? And for me, it's just like we didn't move the ball up the pitch quickly enough, and when we did, it was booting it long, and that it just wasn't
it's not
sustainable.
Gonna work against teams like City. They'll mess up.
Exactly, and it's like
let Ryan finish first.
It's just like I've seen Chelsea sit back before, and it's like it's happened at times on the Super where we've sat back, but when we get the ball, we move it really, really quickly, and then what's it called on the counter where we're devastating with Werner's pace and stuff like that. But today we were just so slow. I mean, like every time we did get the ball in a dangerous position, we just waited until it came back, and then City came back, and then we just do nothing with it when we did have the ball. So my problem wasn't sitting back. It was like when we got the ball, we weren't moving the ball quickly enough. And when we did, it just wasn't good.
Yeah, this is true. This is most definitely true. But still, I just feel like the tactics I've been seeing with Tuchel is he likes to sit back and play defensive. That's fine. But against, like I said, high attacking, top quality, world-class teams like Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, you can't always afford to do that. See, at Anfield, we had to do that because Reece James got disqualified for the handball. We're down to 10 men. We have to sit back and park the bus, basically. And we did a good job in that situation. But it seemed like from the first opening minutes of the game, it just seemed like we're just going to play this sit-back game against a team that is just attackingly just too good to just give them too much time with the ball. Like, if it weren't for Mendy and Silva, like, they could have easily won, like, 3-0 if it weren't for those two dudes right there. Like, in my opinion,
could have been, yeah, and Rudiger as well in my books. And Ryan, before you need to head off, any last words you want to share? I don't know, big anyone up, try to bring a little bit of positivity into it. Miko mentioned it there, Mendy, Thiago Silva. In my opinion, Rudiger was incredible as well. Gone. Ryan, I can't hear you for some reason.
Oh, so sure, my mic was muted. Thiago Silva was amazing when he came on. His experience showed, and then Ruben Loftus-Cheek when he came on was very, very good as well. And Mendy saved us at times because it could have been 2 or 3. And Rudiger as well, I think, was very, very good. 1v1, especially when like Jesus and Ferran Torres and people stood him up. Listen, nobody could get past Rudiger. So I think them 4 players in particular, the rest were either average or just not good enough.
Yeah.
I would agree. Ryan, I know you need to go, so I appreciate you a lot for coming on, and we'll see you soon, bro.
We'll see you soon, my guy. Maybe.
Take care. Miko, on your end, any last words, any last few things you want to talk about, you want to touch on? Maybe something positive on the day?
Oh, yeah, I was saying I didn't even realize I was muted, bro. I messed up. But I was saying I still think we'll win the league. I just think when it comes to teams that have world-class attacking, such as, like I said, City, United, Liverpool, I think we just have to take the ball forward and try our best and put more effort into the offensive side of things and not try to wait as long to bring the attack to them. That's all I wanted to say. I still think we'll win the league as long as we can do that, especially when you look at the guys we have on the bench, Ziyech, Pulisic. Like, we have attacking threats. I feel like we just need to use them more and not rest on our defense and Mendy and Silva saving our ass all the time.
I do agree. First of all, we can definitely still win the league. Nothing's done. We're level on points with City now. Do you know what I mean?
I'm not all the way negative. I'm just a little...
game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Say again?
That's it, though. I hope y'all have a good day, though. I gotta go, but thank you for having me on.
Hey, Miko, appreciate you a lot for coming on. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
Take care.
So as another point, it's 0-0 with the Brentford-Liverpool game. 20 minutes gone. 73 possession in that game for Liverpool. So I think it's fairly sure to say where that's going to go. However, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And, we apparently have the same results all season long. So they will lose 1-0 today.
I get, yeah, exactly. Hopefully that is the way it goes. If you follow Chelsea long enough, like when the big teams drop points. I know Man City won today, but like whenever it comes with Chelsea, whenever the big teams drop points, we always lose. We always lose, and it always seems to happen the other way around. So I wouldn't be surprised if Brentford actually pull off a result or even a draw. Would actually be pretty good for Chelsea today.
That is very, very, very true. We are joined by Zion now. I'm not sure if you're there because your camera is off, so I'm not 100% sure. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. Smash the like button. It really helps us out with the algorithm. It's just one simple click of a button. So go down below, click that like button for us. If you want to, check out my personal channel, to which the link is down in the description. Just my name, which you actually can't see because it's hidden behind the thing. But just my name. You will find it. Just the @ down in the description. Zion is gone, which is a bit unfortunate. I hope he comes back. But if any of you guys want to join, either click that, go down into the Patreon down below. Zion is back. There he is. I will include you in just 1 second. Or if any of you guys, that are watching right now want to join as well and want to have your say, click the link that I just put in the chat now and get involved and have your say. Zion, first of all, thank you for being here. Good to see you, bro. It's been a minute. How was that today? It wasn't great, was it?
To be honest with you, I said it at the start of the season with my chest saying that we can win the league. I'm not backing down from that. I still think we can. Yeah. So some people are saying that this is a massive loss. Yeah, it's a loss. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like that we out of the title race or we're just basically gone. I think it's just a bad day in the office. Let's be real. I mean, when I saw the lineup, I think, to be honest with you, like you said, Lawrence, I think I expected if we're going to play three in the midfield, Kovacic, Kante and Jorginho to sit back and then Kovacic and Kante to go at, Man City and press forward and, win that second ball. That clearly did not happen. So I wouldn't say that this is, this is some of the players' fault, but I think you can obviously put a little blame on Tuchel, but that doesn't mean that, Tuchel is the wrong guy again. Like I said, in my opinion, it's a one-off. Let's be real. So
it is.
I just don't think people need to get, over thinking, oh, we lost to City.
Have I missed something? Like, are people losing their minds on like Twitter?
I'm so confused. Honestly.
Because like everyone seems to like not you're not being negative, Zion, but you're saying, oh, other people are losing their minds. I'm like,
Look, I think losing the City today, it wasn't a great performance. Let's be real.
No,
I just don't think we deserve the win. Hats off to City. They came to the bridge. They had a plan and they executed it. But for us, let's be real. I wasn't fussed about the lineup. I expected, like everyone expected, Jorginho to sit back, Kovacic and Kante to go and win that second ball and help those two forwards, Werner and Lukaku, up front. But that clearly did not happen. So it's just a plan backfire, in my opinion. So fans right now, people in my, my messages saying, "Oh, Chelsea are done. Chelsea are washed." I'm like, it's one game. We lost to City once. We beat them 3 times last season. You didn't come
and we won the big one. I'd much rather have won the Champions League final than won today.
I said this today. I said exactly the same thing today.
But before this game, I said, a couple of weeks ago, I said I'd rather us, we get a draw against Zenit because we weren't playing well against them. I'd rather us get a draw and then because I think the league games this season, in my opinion, are crucial. Like I said, it's very hard. If we drop a point, any of those 4 other 3 teams that are in the title race can pounce on that opportunity. United clearly can't pounce on an opportunity because they've got a bottle of a manager. I always knew Ollie, when it comes to big games, he likes to bottle it. So there's no way I can count them in a title race.
You say big games, they lost to Villa today.
I don't care because they were shocking. I'm absolutely shocking because my mate was watching, the game and he was saying they were absolutely dreadful. My man Bruno Fernandes took the penalty, off Ronaldo. What are you doing?
Did you see the penalty, by the way? Did you see
it was shocking.
What the fuck was that?
I haven't seen it. What it's just a poor pen.
You need to see it. I don't think. Imagine Imagine like the Beckham penalty and all that sort of stuff. It is one of the worst penalties I've ever seen. I posted on Twitter earlier. I can't wrap my head.
Oh my days!
I can't wrap my head around. I can't wrap my head around. He's one of the most composed penalty takers in the world. In the world. Full stop. If not the most composed. What was he doing? I've never seen him.
Do you remember a few years ago when Ramos had that one?
Brentford 1-0. Come on.
Come on. Come on, the Brentford.
But yeah, on to Chelsea. Like I said, I never consider United top favourites, in my opinion. I never consider, even with Ronaldo signing, don't get me wrong, they'll be great there. But I never consider them title favourites. Us, we've got the squad depth. We've got the better squad, in my opinion, than Manchester United. So I just think, in my opinion, that people need to calm down. One loss doesn't matter. We got a good couple of games coming up where we can bounce back. Juventus obviously next, massive game as well in the Champions League. But I think people need to stop worrying and saying that Chelsea are where are we going to get the goals from?
It's one game.
It's one game. It's not like we've lost.
Game, we were the second highest goal scorers. Like, why are people worried about scoring?
Believe me, if you know me, if you're one of my friends or like a family, anything, I am one of the most pessimistic Chelsea fans you'll ever fucking meet in your life. I'm not even upset about today at all. I'm not happy, obviously, but I'm not upset.
It happened. It happened.
I came into this game thinking a loss is very likely. We won the Champions League. They're coming with a vendetta. They're coming with a point to prove. We came out with the complete wrong approach to the game, and they made us pay for it. It is what it is, and it's so early in the game. I could not care less. Yeah, obviously, I would rather have won or draw, but it is what it is. If it was later in the season, I'd be devastated. But you know what I mean? It could be a lot worse. There's no grounds for Tuchel out. Like one of the past people that just tuned in. It's just not. There's no grounds for any. There's no grounds for doubt or worries or anything like that. Don't worry. We're gonna bounce back. We're probably gonna beat Juventus. They haven't got Ronaldo. We're fine. It's fine. Just trust.
And like you said there, and I put it back to you in a second.
Fine.
We how the Villa game, even though we won 3-0, first half wasn't great. The Zenit game wasn't great. The Spurs game, first half was pretty damn poor. Second half, we turned it around. Maybe we needed this, and maybe it's a bit of a wake-up call that we kind of needed, because I said this earlier already, like on my channel, where I was like, Liverpool, when they won the league 2 years ago, they were like at the peak of the whole process and progress on the club. Man City, when they won like the league with 100 points, were probably at the peak, and maybe they get another peak now with a few new players. But we're not anywhere near our peak yet. Like, we just won the Champions League way before we got to our peak. So obviously, Man City are such a good football team. I know people take the piss, but they're such a good football team.
They're at their peak.
They're at the peak, number one.
They're at their peak.
No one beat City 4 times in a row. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, to just sit here and say, "Oh, we're the worst team in the world now because we lost to City," bro. No one beat City 4 times in a row.
Like I said, to be honest with you, people are overreacting about this. Do you know what? Like I said, this is a wake-up call. And this is a wake-up call not only to Tuchel but to the players. And and in my opinion, I'd rather have taken this wake-up call now than later on in the season where when it comes to like January, December time, dropping points is so bad, especially with the period that we've got coming up. So I'm glad that this happened now. Bounce back from it, and you know what? I'm not worried at all. I don't know why people are getting worried. You know what? Even Tuchel came out saying that he might have to take some of the blame for it, and you know what? We didn't have the belief in it, in us too. After they scored to reply back, and what? Fair play to him. At least he's taking some of the blame, because some managers would come out and say, you know what? Oh, the players didn't perform well. We didn't have enough energy and stuff like that. Makes excuses like Jurgen Klopp does sometimes. So you know what? I blame fair play to Tuchel for coming out saying, I'm going to take some of the blame for this as well, because we should have reacted, but we didn't.
After the final, Pep said, "No, we did everything great." It's the difference.
Well, Pep's going to say that. Pep's going to say that because obviously he knows that if Tuchel had beaten him today again 4 times in a row, he wouldn't have got it out of his head. But like I said, Pep, fair play to him. You know, people doubt him as a manager. You know, so far the results that so far had.
Okay,
You know, with the comments that he made with the Etihad and stuff like that with the fans. You know, the guy gives you results, and you know he's got Premier League titles to back it up. So fair play to Pep, fair play to City. But in my opinion, the title race is far from over. You know, people need to just calm down. You know, Liverpool right now are losing to Brentford.
6 games.
We don't know what will happen.
It's 6 games. Do you know what I mean?
And we're level. Like, we're not even behind them.
We are, last season, I think, when we started in the front,
Liverpool just equalised, but it's even then, it's like.
I mean, I think on the Lampard,
even if they win, it's
like
fine.
The high score.
It's fine.
I mean, goals-wise, we didn't score that many goals at the start of the season. We're like joint with Liverpool and City, you know, with the most goals, with 12 goals this season. Only United have got 1 more. So
if you're that worried, if not you in particular, I mean, in like Chelsea fans that are worried, if you're worried or you think for any reason at this point in the season Tuchel should leave or he's not the guy, fuck off.
You're delusional if you're thinking about that because.
Go!
You know,
get out of my club. Go away. Tuchel is the man for the job. Tuchel is the man for the job. I was saying earlier, I can see him. I already like him more than Mourinho. And believe me, I loved Mourinho. I'm massively appreciative of... I probably the same as Mourinho. Let me preface. I can see Tuchel being the longest serving manager for Chelsea since Roman took over. Put it that way. Like I honestly, Tuchel has the facilities to be the man to do the bits. He's won the Champions League in 6 months. He's arguably the best manager in the league right now. Besides, obviously, he's competing with Klopp and Pep. We are already. You think? No less than a year ago, Lampard was saying we are not competing for the Premier League for the next 2 years. And look at it, we won the Champions League 6 months later, and
it's crazy.
And we're already competing for So anything can happen. If you're watching, if you're a Chelsea fan who thinks that Tuchel isn't the man for the job after today's defeat to the champions of England, go away. That's it. That's as simple as that. You don't know football at all. You don't know ball. You do not know football.
Let me just ask MT. MT, are you here? Because obviously you were there earlier. I was going to introduce you, but then you turned the camera off. So I'm not sure if you're here right now or not. If you are, please. There you are. Kind of. There you are. Thank you, MT. Hi. My apologies. I wasn't sure whether you're here now or not. So I was like, I'm not sure. Can I talk to him? Can I not? First of all, thank you for joining us. Secondly, I mean, how are you feeling? But then also, how was the game for you?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. Especially, I watch your streams all the time, all the way from Washington, D.C.
Big up, big
America.
up.
My man.
And I just thought it was an off game. I said before the game, if the engine room is not firing, then it'll be an off game. And the engine room, which is Jorginho, Conte, and Kovacic, they had a terrible game today. And for someone like me who loved playing the wing back position, I know if those guys don't play well, it will be a tough game for Azpilicueta and particularly Alonso. And that's exactly what happened because Alonso couldn't go forward, which is what he loves to do. And he just had an off day. Same with Azpilicueta, and yeah, Lukaku had no service. Off game. I'm not going to say anybody had a bad performance.
You're lagging there a bit. Wait a second and say that last bit again.
I think he's gone.
He might be gone. He might be back in a second. Oh, big up Azar. Love that. Big up Harry. We all love Harry. I agree. We love you, Harry.
He's from my Twitch. I rate him. I like replays. So I'll just give a shout out.
Love that. Love that. But just on the last couple of things that I want to touch on. Obviously, if MT comes back, we will, let him say his piece. But Zion, any last bit you want to talk about? Maybe I asked the other boys before they left. Don't spill all your drink, mate.
Overflowed a bit.
Oh, bloody hell. Zion, I asked the other boys that were on. I asked them as well to as much as it was a disappointing day and obviously a disappointing result, try to find something positive. The other guys were talking about Mendy, we were talking about Loftus-Cheek. Anything you want to highlight, maybe?
I'm just saying that, we got to stay confident. We got to remain, with the team. Let's be real, with the manager. Because if this manager isn't here, we're not where we are. Let's be real. So, just back the manager, back the team all the way. And I just think, like I said, Mendy again, what a player he's turned out to be. Stellar signing. Thiago Silva.
Top 4 in the world. Goalkeepers in the world. I'm sorry. He's top 4 in the world. I would argue top 2 personally, but I won't go too biased.
Neuer or with Oblak?
Neuer needs to fuck off. There's no way. There's no way he's top 4 anymore. I'm sorry. I don't understand the hype.
2 years ago, I
agreed. He's been the best in the world for ages. I don't get it anymore.
3 years ago, I would have agreed. But then 2 years ago, when they won 6 titles, he was very good again.
But it's the Bundesliga though. At the same time,
and they won the Champions League as well.
It's Tim Pot, mate. Yeah. It's fun.
It is a bit Tim Pot.
We won't go into it, but I'm just saying, the rating, FIFA ratings. Jesus Christ, they've done Mendy bad. They really have.
Especially when Schmeichel is 85. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, so where does that come from?
FIFA ratings are disgraceful.
Wait,
absolutely disgraceful.
Is it?
Yeah. Kasper Schmeichel.
God, he is.
And Kasper Schmeichel is a good goalie, but
he's not better than Mendy. You can fuck right off. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
There's no chance. No chance. I'm sorry, Schmeichel.
And isn't Donnarumma 88 rated when he didn't even have a good league season, but just played a great Euros? By that logic, why isn't Jorginho 97?
This is a statistic. I've seen this stat thrown about. Donnarumma's never played in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And he's 89 rated.
I also don't agree that he should have won.
Mendy he's won the goalkeeper of the year for the UEFA's goalkeeper of the year. Won the Champions League. I'm not saying he should be a 90 rated player. I'm not saying that.
But it should be 85,
85 at least. Jesus Christ. Fuck, do you know what I mean? The fact that Schmagel is 85, come on. It's embarrassing.
Oh, we lost Zion. He might be back in a second, but I think we're going to slowly
I rate Schmeichel, but come on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm
fine.
furious.
I had the same outrage when I saw that.
I didn't realize that Schmeichel was 85, and that's dumb. That's ruined my day.
Zion. So, as a last bit, we're going to round it out here. Any last words you have about the game or about the upcoming game? No, you know what? I'll ask you a question. Should Ruben Loftus-Cheek start against Juventus in midweek?
I think he brings that physicality to our team. Let's be real. I mean, I think when I saw him against, I don't know who it was, where he just brushed aside when he was trying to get the ball. I mean, the guy's got, pure muscle on him. He's got physicality. And, maybe this is his time. Give him a run against Juventus. Let's be real. I mean, it's not like it's like a semi-final or a final that, where if we lose, we're in massive trouble. I think give him a run. Why not? I mean, but... yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, he's got physicality. He can drive with the ball forward, and I just miss that kind of Ruben Loftus-Cheek that was under Sarri before he got injured.
100%. Zion, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Let me just quickly get MT back on just to let him have his say. But Zion, we'll talk to you soon. Yeah.
See you, man.
Take care, bro. MT, let's hope you're back. Let's hope I can hear you properly now. Let's try this one last time. You obviously said it was disappointing. It was things happen. But what do you think was the reason for why things didn't quite work? Or was it just an off day? Is that all there is as an explanation?
No, I think you got to give credit to Man City. I think when you have a team that's the champions of the Premier League, they're champions for a reason. And if you've beaten that same team 3 times in a row, they're coming for blood. They're coming for revenge, and they want that game bad. So they came. It's
like when we beat Barcelona in 2012, there was some sense of revenge for 09. Let's be honest, we had more intensity in those games than they did, and it's similar today, in my opinion.
Right, exactly. I think they came out. They wanted the game, and I don't know if I can't blame the formation because that was actually the exact squad that I picked. Everybody that played, I thought that would be the formation, and that was it. It just didn't work out. Hopefully it's a one-off, and then we'll move on from there.
Can I just? One of the comments, Azza just said, 1-0 is not revenge. That's not revenge. I'm sorry. They've done what they did.
That's what they were here for, even if it didn't.
That's what they were here for.
Yeah, they got the win. They haven't embarrassed us at all. I know it's in our home ground and all that sort of stuff, but like, come on. Yeah, considering how we played, you should have absolutely pumped us. Far more goals. We defended so well today. It should have ended at least, if it wasn't for the quality of the defenders and the goalkeeper that we have, should have easily, if against any other team, Man City would have won about 6-7-0 today, really, given the chances that you had. But like, as I said, 1-0 is not revenge. We won the Champions League against them.
Right.
1-0 at home to us in an early game in the Premier League is not revenge. It's not revenge at all.
Right. Plus, as bad as the game was, it still could have been a 0-0 draw, except for a deflected shot.
It could have been. It was like a somewhat lucky goal. Let's be honest. It was. I mean, who knows if they don't score that, they might score another one later. Could be. But the frustrating thing for me was, and I think that's going to be the last thing. The frustrating thing for me was like we were very passive in the first half. We were very passive even coming out of the blocks, which was the one part that surprised me because we had a few poor first halves recently against Villa, even against Zenit, but especially against Spurs. But then we always came out firing after half time. But today that wasn't the case, and it seemed like we only remembered that we're actually good at football once we conceded, and that didn't last too long either. That remembering that we're good at football, but it was still a little bit like that. We also have a super chat here again by Azar. Love that from you. Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that.
You'll never sing that. You'll never sing that. Champions of Europe.
You'll never sing that. There you go. Some positivity.
Oh man, replays. Go on, boy.
Exactly. We also have a super chat here by Zion saying, big up to everyone again. Appreciate you lot for having me on. Also, calm down, Chelsea fans. We will win the league. Be confident in the team and the manager. Big up, guys. Appreciate the donation. Appreciate you, Zion. Big up. I do massively apologize, Charlie, because we are coming to the end because I do need to head off. So I'm sorry that you joined a little bit late. But if you want to, and obviously for the Liverpool Juventus game or the Southampton game next week, if you're going to be around, definitely get involved next week. But MT, I appreciate you a lot for coming on. I appreciate you for sharing your thoughts. And we'll see you all soon. Harry, as a last little bit, thank you for joining me for the phone.
It's a pleasure, mate. I'd love to be on the next time whenever this happens again.
Exactly. Let's definitely do it, mate. Any last words you have after what the people have said to us and obviously the game itself?
Yeah, just be calm, chill out. It's fine. If you know me, like I say, if you've watched my streams in the past, I get pretty worked up over the smallest things. But like the fact that I'm calm about this should be a sign. Don't worry, it's fine. Yeah.
It's absolutely fine. Like shit happens.
I get really upset over the last season. We lost Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. I was fuming. One of the biggest streams of my career early because I only started last season. It is what it is. Just trust in Tuchel. It's fine. Tuchel, it's Tuchel time, baby. It's fine.
We'll be fine, baby. There you go.
It is. I don't know if you see that, but it's Tuchel time, baby. It's always Tuchel time all the time. Just trust in the process. It's one loss out of how many? I don't know off the top of my head.
I mean, this is the first time we've lost the game since May.
And it's a 1-0 against the champions of Europe. And that being said, our record against Man City at Stamford Bridge is not that good anyway. It's probably a good thing that we actually managed to stop De Bruyne scoring against us for once. Again, in the Premier League, today would have been his fifth Premier League game in a row. We managed to stop him. That was the main thing. My final thing is just chill out. If you don't trust Tuchel, go away. Go away. I trust him. You trust him. I can tell. Any true Chelsea fan trusts in the process of Tuchel. He knows what he's doing. He's won us the Champions League, for fuck's sake. Just chill out.
Exactly that.
He knows what he's
another
doing.
super chat by Azar, big up. It's Tuchel time, baby. There you go.
It is. It's Tuchel time, baby.
It is Tuchel time, baby. But yeah, no, I can only share the sentiments of what Harry just said. It's a one-off. Hey, it happens. You can't win every game. No one does. Yes, I know Arsenal went invincible. Yes, but they also drew 12 games. I'd rather lose one and not draw 12 because this season, with how tough the challenge is, with 12 draws, you're not going to win the league. So you could be invincible second. Brilliant. Love that for you. So, I'd rather lose a one-off and still win the league. Again, we're tied with a level on points with City, obviously. Now, Liverpool currently drawing against Brentford. If they win, obviously, they'll be 3 ahead. If they draw, they'll be 1 ahead. But everything's still possible. Mind you, City and Liverpool play each other next weekend. So one of them, if not both of them, will drop points. So
who would you? My question is to you, before we close off, my question, who would you prefer to win that game? Suppose, right, most chances are Liverpool are going to win this game. So they're going to be 3 points ahead of us. So with that in mind, I know they're drawing at the moment. But if we factor in that Liverpool could win, who would you prefer? Again, it's so early in the season. I couldn't really care less myself. But who would you prefer to win that game? It's not a title decider by any means, but it's still a big game.
Well, it depends on today's result a little bit because if Liverpool win today and then win next week.
That little bit of progress, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But if City, if Liverpool don't win today, then maybe City. It's weird because I think Liverpool as a starting 11 might be a tad stronger, but Liverpool are one injury to a wrong player away from being absolutely screwed. And also, Liverpool are losing their 2 biggest attacking threats for a full month for the African Cup of Nations when Salah and Mane will both be gone. And sure, we will also lose Mendy, but they will lose Salah and Mane for like a month. In January.
Are they actually letting them go? That's the question. Because I could have sworn Klopp said that there's no way they're letting them go.
Well, maybe. I think to a cup, I think the players will riot if they aren't allowed to go. Like they want to play for that country.
Is it that big of a deal to them?
I think so.
You would argue it is, but again, Klopp and Liverpool and the powers that be. I could have sworn they said that there's no fucking chance in hell that they're going to to that.
I don't know about that one.
We lose Mendy as well. We
do, but Kepa's been doing okay.
He has been. We'll give
so from that point of view, when those players are gone, and it might be more than a month to be fair, because the whole tournament's a month, they will probably join up with the squad a little bit earlier. So if they make it to the latter stages, they might be gone for like 6 weeks. So with that said. And also City having a stronger squad, it's probably easier to catch Liverpool. But at the end of the day, I probably prefer a draw, if I'm being totally honest with
you. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like City could be the ones that fall a little bit this season. Just based on today, I know they beat us today, but I just can see them underperforming this season. Because you know what I mean? Like they've performed so well so many seasons in a row. They've got to hit a point. You know what I mean? And like I say, they really, really could have taken us so much more. So they could have scored so many goals more than they did today, and they didn't. We defended well. I know they won by a deflected goal. I know I said it. Props to them. They were the deserved winner today. I fancy my chances against Liverpool. I don't know. It's a tough one. I do think it is a title race between City and Chelsea. I think Liverpool will eventually drop. Man United will be creeping. They'll be creeping in the top 4. It'll be a Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United top 4 in no particular order, but it'll be that top 4.
I agree. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, tough day. But hey, we move on upwards and onwards, as they say. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in to this, fan fan phone in. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. Check out the link to my personal channel, to which the link is down in the description. Check out Harry on all social medias. Check out Harry on Twitch as well. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards, and we'll see you next time.